Hey, it's Brock here from Rock Hill Farms, and today we're going to talk about lubricants and penetrating oils and water displacement, and then we are going to try to take some rusty stuff and see if we can free it up with some of these products, and I'm going to present you with an alternative product that this video is somewhat focusing on. So, first I want to tell you one of my favorite little stories or jokes I like to share. And it starts off with a yes-no diagram, which is designed to solve a complicated problem through a series of A, B, left, right, yes, no type questions. And each question leads you to another question, and if you answer them all, then you have a solution. So this is a very simple version. It starts off with, does it move? If you say yes, it moves, then the next question is it supposed to? If the answer is no, then you're saying, yes, it moves, but it's not supposed to. Solution, duct tape. The next question is, does it move? No. It doesn't move. Is it supposed to? If the answer is yes, the solution is WD-40. The other two alternatives on this diagram are not a problem. So the obvious conclusion is that any mechanical problem can be solved with either duct tape or WD-40. I really enjoy how clever that is. That doesn't make it true. And as a matter of fact, WD-40, which stands for Water Displacement version 40, was never meant to be a lubricant. It actually is made to displace water. It's made to prevent rust and potentially to remove rust because it removes water. So, I think it's a good product for what it's made to do. Just like everything else up here that is part of the stuff I normally stock on the shelves in my shop, because I always want to be able to take something that moves and is supposed to or doesn't and isn't, and I want to have options for cleaning and lubricating. And so I stock all these products, and I have a lot of different cans of WD-40 because the brand WD-40 acknowledges that their one product doesn't do everything. That's why there are like a dozen types of WD-40. This one is a specialist penetrant fast acting. So this is a penetrating oil, right? But then they have a penetrating oil. This is silicone quick drying lubricant. So this is a quick drying lubricant, isn't it? But they have a quick drying lubricant. And so they have a lot of different products that I don't have here to do a lot of different jobs. And to me, when these are $10 a can, and it seems like to do everything you might need to do at some point of different tasks you're doing, you need them all. So you're going to have a whole bunch of these $10 cans all over the place. And, you know, I'm a brand loyal guy. You guys know that I'm loyal for John Deere, even though sometimes I acknowledge there's no reason for it. I'm also loyal to Ram as a truck brand, even though they've let me down a couple times recently. I'm loyal to DeWalt. They make great tools, but something about the color scheme, it's like once I pick a brand or a product, sometimes I'm irrationally loyal to it because I'm familiar with it or whatever the case may be. And that's the case with WD-40. I don't know why I like it so much. So the question I'm asking right now is, you know, how useful of a product is this really? And there's a bunch of videos out there talking about myths related to WD-40. One is some people say you should use it in your gun. And there's a very well-made video describing how the worst thing you could possibly put on a gun is WD-40. If you drop your gun in the lake, you might want to clean it with WD-40, but then you need to oil everything that the WD-40 touched. And same thing with common applications a lot of people use this product for. If you have a squeaky door hinge and you spray WD-40 on it, it will stop squeaking right then because it has this on it and it lubricates it in the short term. And it displaces any water that's inside of there, and then when this product dries, you have two dry, clean pieces of metal that are now rubbing, and the bottom line is the door is going to start squeaking again, as opposed to if you had used a long-lasting lubricant. So, what we're going to do today is test out a product that is meant to be an alternative to WD-40. And from everything I can find on the internet and read about this product and the demonstrations and testimonials I've seen, it looks like a phenomenal product that can replace this and this and this and almost replace a tube of grease while still doing this job. Here's the problem. I've never used it. So I cannot endorse this product because, how do I really know? Mostly, the information I have about it comes from the manufacturer. And in my experience, the manufacturer of a product generally tells you that it's pretty good. So what I want to do today is do the best job I can do to demonstrate if this works. But I can't fully demonstrate that without doing some more long-term testing. So once we use this rusty chain and some of these rusty tools to try it out, we're going to set up a more long-term test. Now I've went and bought a bunch of identical tools, just cheapo tools from the dollar store, and I'm going to try to make those rust. Now I'm going to treat, in a set of each type of tool, I'm going to use one product to treat this tool, one product to treat the next tool, and then our control tool will be untreated. And we're going to do that with a few different tools and a few different chemicals here and see what works the best. So we're going to start off with the does it work at all test. I walked around looking for tools that I had left outside. Luckily for us, I'm pretty bad about leaving stuff laying around. And these tools, you can open them, but they don't open freely. You know, a good used tool should fall open instead of having to pull it open. Okay. Now, I'm going to guess that any of these penetrating oils I have here on the desk are going to free these up, but we're going to test out the Rust Patrol right now. So the owner of this company right here sent me an email. And as I've talked about, I get a lot of emails from people who want me to endorse their products. Because when your channel or your social media platform gets a certain amount of views, I put way too much of this on there because I was talking. And he explained to me you don't need anywhere near this quantity of material. So we'll put a lot less on the next tool. But my channel gets enough of a viewership that there are actually services that search channels based on their view counts, and based on that they try to match you up with products, and then the companies will reach out to you. And I try to be very selective about what I will and will not demonstrate on this channel, or more importantly, what I will and will not endorse on the channel. So I'm going to apply this to the last two with just a little bit on a rag and go really light. So, I was contacted by Rust Patrol, and the first couple sentences told me that I should read the rest. Because he started off with a story that someone who regularly watches my channel had sent him an email and said, you should work with Brock from Rock Hill Farm. So to begin with, that had me interested. Then he explained that it's a very small business run by him and his father. Well, I have a small business run and started by me and my father. And so I immediately connected. And then he started talking about his product being an alternative to WD-40. I buy a lot of WD-40s. And I lot of WD-40s. I buy a lot of WD-40 products. I like things that are easily tested. And this can be tested, whereas a lot of things like who makes the best tractor is subjective. And so I can't try to answer that very well in a video. But I've sprayed some of this product on each of these. I think we should give it a few minutes and then we'll jump back in and see how it worked. Okay. They definitely move easier, whereas it was holding itself up before. Now this is the point where we don't have a really subjective way to test this. It definitely moves easier. And I don't know if it's taking the rust off of this. It's not really taking the rust off, and he kind of told me, I mean, it's removing a little bit of it. He kind of told me that that's not what it's for. When something's deeply rusted, that's into the metal, and you're not necessarily going to remove that easily. But it did your initial job of freeing these tools up so that they move a lot easier. And so that's the first test I wanted to do. So the next thing I want to test it on, this chain link has been froze up for a very long time. It's probably been like a year ago that my daughter asked me if I could get this chain loose at her house. Couldn't get it off, so I cut it. And then I just brought it back here and left it setting outside. So this has been rusted over and locked up, and it was pulled around and worn out, and it's been locked up for a long time. I'm going to see if I can free this up. I guess first, for some level of comparison, let's try. Just see if we can turn it right now. I already know the answer. Okay. So, clearly that's not going to turn. We'll go ahead and spray a little bit of this product on it. As I said a minute ago, there are two types of tests I want to do. One is having multiple of the exact same thing that is a controlled test. So if I take two identical wrenches and I put them both in the same bucket of water, and then I spray one with this and one with this, we can tell which one works better. But for today, I don't have 3 chains that have been laying outside for the same amount of time. So we're just going to see if it works at all. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the ideal uses for this product. So, unlike WD-40, you're going to use this on things that you want to lubricate but don't have a grease zerk. So that includes larger farming equipment, anything with a lot of moving parts, like a hay baler, like the old square balers would be a great application. Now, I'm not really knowledgeable about the larger farm equipment, but the owner told me that that's one of their main uses for it. And a lot of those guys aren't buying these little bottles. They're buying 5-gallon or 55-gallon drums of this product. And then they're using their own sprayers to get all the moving parts on this machine lubricated. And that's one application that doesn't apply to me as much. The next application for me is on the tractor. There are a lot of things that move but don't have a grease zerk. Pins and bushings sometimes, or my number one interest in this is PTO shafts. You have different mechanisms on your PTO shaft, and especially the one that's got the big spring, and you squeeze it like this before sliding it on. If you put grease on that, it's just going to get dirt and gunk and all that build up on it, and then you got to try to remove all that grease and put new grease in. It's a lot messier. Whereas with this type of a lubricant, even if it does get some dirt in the lubricant, you can spray it again. But this is going to be a lot better product for an application like that. Now, WD-40 is not. Now this might be comparable to something like their gel lube, which I don't have the gel lube. I have the silicone fast drying lube, and you wouldn't want that on your PTO. So, a lot of applications for this. And there's no such thing as a magic product that's good for everything, but I'm interested to see how many things this works well on. Okay, so I still was not able to break this loose with two pairs of pliers. Let's go stick it in the vise and try to get a bigger wrench on it and see what we can do. So, while I'm trying to take this loose, I'm going to tell you that the owner of the company, without knowing what kind of results I was going to show on this video, was open to me testing it in any kind of situation and just showing what happens, which is a pretty brave thing for someone to do as the owner of a company. And they've offered anyone who purchases their products through my discount code 5% off the purchase and free shipping on orders over $50. So if you want to test this product out yourself, use code ROCKHILL for 5% off. I didn't realize what was happening once I got this to turn, that you obviously have threads at the top that unscrew it, and I broke those threads loose. But the next component of this is it's got a swivel on the bottom, and if the swivel isn't free also, then you're just basically twisting it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So what did this video demonstrate? Not that much. It showed that this product will loosen up a rusted up stuck tool. Did it demonstrate if it was better or worse than these other products? Not really. But it's mainly meant to be more of a lubricant, and more of a protectant. So the next test will be to establish with a controlled experiment, as opposed to what we did today. We're going to try to establish if this product is better or worse than this product as a protectant. And then we're going to have our control tools that do rust up, and we're going to compare them in exactly the same environment and just see what we get. I want to applaud the owner of Rust Patrol for allowing me to do a test without any qualifications on it as far as me being able to show the outcome of this test. So, if you have any suggestions how I can set up a controlled test, I've got the tools I've been talking about. I've got some bolts and nuts here, and if you have any other suggestions how I do a controlled test between these different products, then let me know, and I've got time to set that up and try to do a really thorough video the next time you hear me talk about this subject. In the meantime, I appreciate you taking time to watch this video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.